everyone. Today I'm going to talk about the Yemen refugees in Jeju, which was a big issue in Korea last year and still is. And the main question of today's presentation is: should we allow the Yemen refugees to stay in Jeju Island? Before telling you guys the pros and cons of this issue, I just want to tell briefly about what is happening in Yemen and why the Yemen refugees came to Jeju. First, in Yemen, as you know, Yemen is an Arabic country which is located in the Middle East. And since 2015 and until now, there is a Yemen civil war that is happening in Yemen. To introduce you guys briefly and to help you guys understand this war, in 2015, in the early years of the war, it was just a civil war between the two presidents, the ex-president and the present president. And they fought because of religious problems. The ex-president was supported by the Shia Muslim, which is called in Korea Shiata, and the present president was supported by the Sunni Muslim, in Korea is Sunni. So the two big groups of Islam fought for 3 years, and after the nearby Islam countries such as Saudi Arabia and Iran or Qatar also participated in this war, and it became much bigger and more people got sacrificed. And this is the reason why the refugees occurred. So the Yemen refugees had to move where they can be safe. But there were not really many countries they could go. Most of the countries banned refugees to come to their countries. But hopefully there were a few countries where they allow refugees to come and stay for a while. And that country was, starting from Yemen, they moved to Malaysia. Well, Malaysia, they allow refugees to stay for maximum 90 days in their territory. So the Yemen refugees moved to Malaysia to stay just for a while because there was no any other solution for them. And after the 90 days, they finally moved to Korea. Well, actually, Jeju Island. And now, I think you guys might guess why they moved to Jeju Island. To tell you guys, we should go back to 2006 because the Jeju local government in 2006 they legalized the no visa system. The no visa system is a system which allows foreigners to stay in Jeju Island maximum 30 days without having a visa. And thanks to that, the Yemen refugees could come to Jeju Island. So what did the Korean government do? Actually, there's a refugee law in Korea. So they just did actually what the refugee law said. And when the refugee come to our territory, we should do the refugee evaluation to see if they can stay in Korea or not. So I'm going to tell you the process of this evaluation. 484 Yemen refugees came to Jeju Island, and it was the Jeju Foreign Office who processed this evaluation. They searched the refugees' personal information, and they processed several interviews with the refugees. The first evaluation, sorry for going up, I think it's a bit hard to see, but the first evaluation held in September 2018, and the second evaluation was in October 2018, and the final evaluation was in December. And finally, the result was only 2 people was assigned as official refugees. It means the official refugees means allowed by the government. So they have many authorities. If they live here, if they live in Korea, the government provides some supplies for them to survive, and they help search for jobs. And actually, those 2 people were journalists who worked in Yemen, and they were by the army for several times, so they were assigned as official refugees. And 412 people were assigned as a humanitarian state permission. This is different from the official refugees. They can only stay in Korea because they have no other solution, but the government doesn't really give any help for them. And the other 56 people were assigned as postponed. It means they just, because they had not really proper reason to come in Korea, the foreign office just assigned them as postponed, and the rest, the 14 people, just quitted to come to Korea. So total, 468 people, 468 people just were assigned as official refugees or humanitarian state permission or postponed. And now I'm going to talk about the pros and cons of this Yemen refugees issue. First, the people in the pros argue that we should allow the refugees to come to Korea in terms of the humanitarianism. As we're in the 21st century and we learn a lot than our ancestors, we have more ability to feel empathy to others, and we should feel the compassion or sympathy to others. So we should allow them to stay in Korea. And also, they say that as in the past, as Koreans got lots of help, the Korean refugees got lots of help from other countries, we should also do that to these Yemen refugees. And how about the cons? The cons gave two big reasons. The first one was the crime problem. They gave the evidence by giving examples of European countries where they allowed refugees to live in their countries. And the second one was the abuse in no visa system and refugee law. They worried about refugees to abuse those systems and policies because they could just lie as refugees, but actually they're like rich and they have lots of solutions to live, but they can just lie because they want to live in a safe place. So they wanted to stop those people who lies and lives in Korea illegally. And actually, there were lots of people who didn't really agree with the cause. And this is the site of public petition site in Korea, national petition site, and almost 40,000 people disagreed with them to allow them to live in Korea. And here, my opinion is to sum up this, we should allow them to stay in Korea. Well, because I agree with the arguments that cause argue. This is 21st century, and we are also a humanitarian country. We should tell those Yemen refugees they don't really have any solutions to now. So I think we should allow them to live in Korea. And also, I found some errors in the arguments of the cons. First, the evidence that the people in cons gave was not really a proper evidence. Well, actually, in European countries, there were lots of terrorists. There was several terrorists that these refugees made, but actually the crime rate increased because of the local people. I mean, for example, they gave the crime rate, the Germany, for example, just got up. But, for example, it was like this, and this one is before the influx of refugees, and this is after the influx of refugees. But actually, the part of the crime that was occurred by the refugees was not that high. And actually, the reason why it increased was the local people crimes. So I think this is a big error. And also the second one, abusing no visa system and refugee law. Well, actually, it could happen, but the refugee law is still changing now, and the Parliament of Assembly is still changing the law to make people not abuse this law. So I think these arguments have lots of error. Arguments has lots of errors, and also, and to finish this argument, I think the people who don't agree with allowing them to stay in Korea is not because of a genuine natural concern. I think it's just something xenophobia. So they just don't want them to come because of racism, or because they are in poor countries and they think that the Yemen refugees have nothing and they will just commit crimes. So actually, there are not really big evidence or clear evidence that they will commit crimes or they will just destroy our society. But I think it's been a sort of racism. So I'm totally against those. But I think we should talk more about this because, as you know, it's almost 500 people, exactly 500 people, foreigners coming to our country. So I think we should consider more deeply about this topic. Thank you for listening.
Questions, comments?
I think it's possible other countries refuse can come to our Jeju because the Yemen's, if we allow the Yemen stay, other countries refuse think, Jeju is the substitute we can go. So many people can, I think the problem, many other countries refugees come to Jeju, and in the Jeju people and have a conflict with foreigner peoples.
You're talking about the conflict between the foreigners?
Or between the foreigner with Korean people, increasing the refugee members.
Well, there was those arguments in the reality, but they said that they will make a village for them, to minimize the conflict between the local people and the foreigners. But I think this is not a really good solution. So, because this means that the Koreans will not support the foreigners to adapt to the Korean society. So I think we should find other solutions for this.
This was an academic presentation, right?
Yes.
So evidently you've read some sources, but you didn't give us any of them.
Yeah, I didn't put in the presentation.
So that's the fundamental thing you have to do when you do an academic presentation. So when you were talking about crime rates and stuff, where did you get the information from? How do we know it's valid? What exactly was the information? So you said general crime rate increased in Germany, but then you said that wasn't really refugees. Where was that information from and how was it collated? It's meaningless to us, because there's lots of data and there's lots of opinions out there, and unless we can actually see the source, it's difficult for us to actually be convinced by it. Where was that information from about crime rates?
Every information that I just showed in this presentation was from the articles, but I think this was.
But the crack test shows that there's academic sources are the strongest, and newspaper sources or Wikipedia is the weakest. And we have no idea where any of your information came from, so we have no idea if any of that information is true or not.
Yeah, but as you know, this refugees problem was a problem. This problem was started really recently. So there are not really many academic.
I think there's going to be quite a lot of work on it. I mean, you said that there's work on crime rates in Germany, right? But you didn't reference them. So how can we know if you're telling the truth or not, right? It's a perennial academic problem. It's been going on for ages that unless you share your sources, that's just something you've got to do, right? If it's an academic presentation, you've got to share your sources. But like, okay, the opponents of the refugees in Jeju said it's about crime. So I'm assuming that they've got crime statistics. You didn't share that with us, but like, when you make a counter-argument, you need to show us what the statistics they base their argument on are. So the opponents of Jeju refugees say that it causes crime. So what are those crime statistics? This was 2018. I'm sure that everybody's really interested to know if these people are causing crimes. Like, how has the crime rate on Jeju changed since they came? And how much of it is caused by refugees and how much of it is not caused by refugees?
Actually, it's 2018, and now it's not been a long time to find those pictures. But I found some accidents that happened in Jeju, and well, the public. I just saw I focused on the public reaction, how they react to those crimes. And even though there was not really many evidence about who committed the crime, they all said that the Yemen refugees would do that. So only those.
Right. So all they've managed to uncover is racism then.
Yeah, it's really racism.
Because you can't, in a democratic society, you can't go around blaming people unless you've got evidence, right? I mean, evidence of the big crime spike since they came, it's circumstantial, but at least it's something. But just individual incidents happen all the time, right? People shoot somebody, people rape somebody. That happens all the time anyway. I mean, you could have used some evidence that does exist. The crime rate for foreigners in Korea is generally lower than for general population. Right? Like previous students showed data from like Korean government organizations that shows these are the foreigners living in Korea and these are the respective crime rates, and they have them ranked. But then the crime rate for Koreans is like this, and the crime rate for the next biggest group, Chinese, is like this. So you can actually see that foreigners actually commit fewer crimes. And it would be interesting to know if that holds for Jeju refugees as well. I mean, usually they're so interested in being saved that I don't think they're interested in committing crime. So that's where we need evidence, otherwise it's just like a bunch of chat, right? Any other questions, comments?